So dear teachers, I am happy to be here to present to you as part of the RP 2019 on leadership skills for teachers. I will be presenting some components of the draft national education policy which are student and teacher centric, and this is the most important component in the new education policy, the chapter 12, which talks about the optimal learning environments and support for students. It is a job of the teachers to take up some leadership role to create an environment which helps the students to learn, at the same time support them, particularly because in India the large number of the students who are coming from the first generation learners as well as coming from socio-economic background families, from backward families. So in this context, I think you all should read this chapter number 12, and inculcate some of the good points that are already outlined, and use your own wisdom and your own ideas and innovations, and improve the quality of teaching in your educational organizations. So what is the main part of this particular chapter? What it says in the national education policy is that the environment and the learning atmosphere should such that there should be a joyful and rigorous and responsive curriculum. That's what the job of the teachers. And the job of the teachers is also to develop and inculcate engaging and effective pedagogy, and also provide some kind of a caring support and optimize learning and the overall development of students. Obviously, this means there's campus development, what kind of campus you have, what kind of learning atmosphere you create, how much freedom you give to students to learn on their own and develop ideas and values that the society wants to perpetuate for the next generation. Now, just to give you a slight background, I want to sort of tell you the difference between, because we keep using the word learning and education. Learning has a very limited meaning. Learning, it can be anything by imitation. We can learn our languages, we learn our tool making abilities or tool using abilities, and variety of such kind of things. Even other animals can also learn by imitation. Whereas education, which is human specific, our society specific, is about transferring the knowledge and values from generation to generation, which is a very structured and deliberate transmission. And this is something which has to be developed depending on the time, has to be modified in every generation, because the technology will change, the values will change, the needs will change. Accordingly, we need to continuously improve our standards of education, mode of delivery, and how the students would learn, right? For example, we all are teachers, we learn something, let's say in late, in the 20th century, and trying to transfer that knowledge, certain values and skills that we have to our students in the beginning of the 21st century. But these students are going to use these things maybe 10 years or 20 years later. Then how do you ensure that what is needed in 10 or 20 years later is provided to the student, rather than what we know which was needed or which was used now or 10 or 20 years earlier. This is the dichotomy of ideas of how we train our teachers and how to prepare our teachers for the future, so that our students also get trained and learn from these teachers, so that they can become the citizens of the future rather than the citizens of the past. So traditionally, the school education was supposed to be to know what is already known and lead a comfortable life with the help of variety of different types of skills that is required in the society. Whereas higher education is the one which is to generate new knowledge and apply the knowledge for societal welfare or to develop new technology. Now, as you can make out, what is known is so vast in these days. School education is not enough to know everything, but still school education is supposed to be to give them the basic skills that they require to be part of a society, to lead a comfortable life in the society. And higher education, even if there is a knowledge that is already known is so vast, it is supposed to develop skills to generate new knowledge. That means analytical ability, self-learning ability, and creative thinking and scientific methods that is required to generate new knowledge. But in the last couple of 100 years, all over the world, it's not India specific problem, all over the world, due to impact of industrialization, where large number of skilled laborers were required in industries. When I say use the word laborers, I'm not talking about just manual laborers. It could be laborers at every level, including, let's say, in IT sector. It could be office, goers, but still they're all called laborers in the industrial context. We are generating, graduates in a factory mode with specific skills. For example, every student coming out of civil engineering or computer science or even a BSc or a BCom would come with exactly the same skills, rather than each one coming out with their own independent creativity. There is been a dichotomy of research and education at higher education, and as you can make out, most of our teachers do only teaching. There is no research, and undergraduate colleges do not have really much of research presence, in the absence of which students will never develop the skills that are part of the research endeavors. And those skills are also transferable skills like analytical ability, critical thinking, and we are not providing these skills to our students in the absence of research on campus. So, all of this is relate to examination centric education, which basically requires rote learning, because everybody wants to remember something and then write in the examination and then forget what they have learned, and in the end our the students are not contributing to the development of the society, is just somehow managing the continuation of the past in the society. As the world is changing, the environment is changing, climate is changing, the societal dynamics are changing, natural resources are diminishing. It is important that our students need to be prepared for the future. For that, rather than simply learn what is already known, they should know how to apply knowledge for solving the societal problems, and also develop and innovate in learning what's happening around them. That means creating new knowledge. So, I have already spoken about the challenges that today's students may face tomorrow, because India, for example, is fourth largest economy, or in the world at large, there has been certain level of comfort in terms of availability of food, nutrition, energy, but it's not going to last forever. We need to develop new models of development for sustainability. There are India specific problems. We have very large and diverse population. We have huge disparity in opportunities. Even in education, large number of the regions and socio-economic groups do not have access to high good quality education. In R&D, our human resources are very scanty, scattered, and average quality is a worrying issue. So, dichotomy in research and teaching, dichotomy of UG and PG education, dichotomy of science and technology, these are the issues that India is facing problems, and we need to improve in our higher education system. For that, again, our teachers should take up leadership roles to repair the system.